Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MCFC Lads Podcast. I'm Luke, and I'm joined by Alex, as always. How are we, mate?
I'm good. It's been a good week to be a City fan. Good result last night, good result on Sunday. Very good time to be a Blue.
Yeah, well, last time we spoke, it was just after that Swansea game. Obviously, the week just before that as well, we'd lost to Aston Villa. And we both said on that podcast, hopefully, we'd be starting this one off by saying we've won 2 games. And Alex, that's exactly what we have done. It was a big win over Bournemouth at the weekend, which we'll touch on briefly in a second. But just more recently, last night, Alex, at the time of recording, Borussia Dortmund 4-1 to City. It finished. How did you find that game, mate?
I thought it was a very impressive display. First half, I thought we were very solid. Pep pointed out we didn't start too well first 10 minutes, maybe a little bit slow, and I'd agree with that statement. But I'd say from that point onwards, we've got a grip of the game. By our time, it was 2-0. It could have easily been 4 or 5-0. There are a few chances that we missed. Nico O'Reilly is the first that comes to mind, but there was a few on top of that as well. It was a very, very good sort of solid performance. Second half, we definitely stepped off a little bit, but I think that was probably with one eye on Sunday, which we'll get onto in a little bit. But yeah, they got one back. City went 5 at the back. We just closed up shop. Donnarumma put a few great slide tackles in, and then Cherki finished the job. And in the end, 4-1, probably a fair result, all things considered. And 4-1 against a solid German team, I don't know if you can argue with that whatsoever, leaves us 4th in the Champions League group stages. I think it's difficult not to be very happy with it.
Yeah, I believe Dortmund as well had only lost once this season against Bayern Munich in quite a tight game. So they're by no means a bad side. I know some people have been criticising City on Twitter and stuff like that, saying, Foden's just scored 2 against some German team. It's Borussia Dortmund are a good side. They're 3rd in the Bundesliga. They're looking all right. Before this, they were unbeaten as well in the Champions League, level on points with City. And it was Phil Foden, man of the match. Haaland got a customary goal as well. I think Savinho had a decent game, Alex, despite some of the critics recently. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it wasn't a perfect performance, but it was definitely a step in the right direction. He did a few good take-ons, created a few chances. I think it was Haaland's goal, maybe, that came all from him taking his man. And there's a few times when he absolutely skinned his man, to be fair to him. But yeah, I thought that was probably Savinho's best performance this season, definitely.
And Donnarumma as well in net is looking really good. Some big saves and them 2 tackles just at our end, towards the end of the game when it was looking a little bit ropey as well. At 3-1, he just slides in twice, recovers for, I think it was Nunes, I think that left the ball for some reason. And then Donnarumma just slid in. He's looking like exactly what we wanted in net, to be fair. Really good goalkeeper, isn't he, Donnarumma?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he had a little bit of a stink for Bournemouth's goal, in my opinion, on Sunday. But I mean, that's bound to happen at times. But once again, just proving how good he is on last night. He made a great save as well. I think it was Guirassy, went for on goal. I can't remember if it's 3-0 or 3-1 at the time, but he made a big save. Then those slide tackles were big, because if he gets that wrong, it's a red card, potentially a freaking dangerous area, or they tap it around him and they score and it's 3-2, and it's very, very nervy. So it was a big moment that maybe won't get covered so much, given it was a 4-1 comfortable win. But on another day, that goes wrong and it's a closer game than we think.
Yeah, well, I'll just compare actually that lineup from last night. It was a good performance, 4-1. It leaves City on 10 points, still unbeaten in the Champions League. If you look at the standings, you've got Bayern, Arsenal and Inter all on maximum points. Actually mad how few goals those teams have conceded as well. Bayern have scored 14, conceded 3. Arsenal have scored 11 without conceding. And Inter have scored 11 with conceding just 1. City then just below on 10 points. We're the only team on 10 points. And I think we're one of 5 teams unbeaten, I believe. Obviously, Tottenham with 2 wins, 2 draws, a little bit beneath us. But it's looking good. We said on one of the other podcasts, we need to get to 15, 16, probably 16 points to get into that top 8. And we're on 10 with 4 games to go, Alex.
Yeah, can't argue at all. I mean, you said about last year, I think you're going to compare the teams in a second.
Yeah.
But we're only 1 point off our total last year. So, I mean, obviously we had to improve from last year. There was no way we weren't going to improve from last year. But it's a massive step in the right direction. Had it not been for a dodgy penalty, it would be 12 points out of 12. And we've got Leverkusen next. If we go and beat them, you leave yourself in a situation where you can go to the Bernabeu sort of without any pressure. Obviously, I'd like to go to the Bernabeu and win. I think we're more than capable of doing that. Liverpool showed that they're there to be beaten. But obviously, you don't really want to go into the Bernabeu with the stakes high. And we're putting ourselves in a position where we don't have to do that, which is great news.
Yeah, I mean, the bit about saying you don't want to go to the Bernabeu, I'd have left it there, mate. It's an
true.
absolute dump, to be honest, mate. But yeah, moving on from our hatred for Madrid, 10 points out of a possible 12 in the Champions League, and bar that Monaco last-minute penalty that was very up for debate, we're pretty much perfect. So looking good in the Premier League. Arsenal sit on 25, we're just beneath on 19, and Liverpool and Sunderland and Bournemouth then on 18 beneath. Obviously, we're playing Liverpool this Sunday. We'll get onto that later in this podcast. But like Alex just hinted at there, I'm going to compare the two teams. Like Alex said as well, 11 points we got in total in the Champions League last season in 8 games. Now that's just shoddy. We didn't deserve to go through, to be honest. But it's a year since we played Sporting away and we got beat 4-1. Now that lineup was Ederson in goal. If we compare that to the Dortmund game yesterday, it's Donnarumma. Big change there, obviously. And then the back four, Alex, against Sporting was Rico Lewis at right back, Simpson Pusey, Akanji and Vardiol. And now we've got Mateus Nunes at right back, filling in, doing a good job, to be fair. Stones and Vardiol and Nico Riley coming through the ranks, doing very well at left back, making that position his own, as we've said before. Then you look at the midfield three, Kovacic, Bernardo and Foden. And last night we had Nico, Reinders and Foden, which is just unbelievably more legs, to be honest. That's what I'd say about it. With all due respect to the other two. Without having like a holding midfielder, we really just struggled. And then the front three, Savinho, Haaland, Nunes, is now Savinho, Doku and Haaland. Now, the fact we've had Nunes go from left wing to right back says a lot, Alex. We've come a long way from last year. I think we're looking good in the Champions League. The squad looks good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd completely agree. And while we're on the topic of the last year as well, we don't even mention is not only the names much better, but the names at the same are much better. Harden last year didn't have his finest of years.
Spot
I mean,
on.
he missed that penalty in Lisbon. Actually, that was a turning point probably in that game. If he scores that, it's 3-2, and who knows what happens from there. The Haaland this year is just a completely different beast. The same with Phil Foden. The same with a number of players. So that's also worth mentioning. But as you said, the squad is looking very good. I still don't think it's the complete package just yet. There's a lot of players that sort of have a way to go, but I think there's definite signs that those players are getting to where they need to be. And I seen on Twitter someone say, I think it might have been LB actually, and he said it's really good news that we're going to the Liverpool game off the back of Dortmund and Bournemouth, because they probably are two best performances this season, and I completely agree with that. I think this season we've shown so many glimpses of just like really good football, really exciting football, but in those two games I think it's been sort of a complete package which we've not really seen so far this season, and it's good to be hitting form at the right time is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and how good has Ryan Cherky been as well? We've not really mentioned him. He came off the bench and scored 2 big assists against Bournemouth in what was a very difficult game before that. Like we said, Bournemouth were unbeaten since the start of the season in the league. I think that was 8 games unbeaten. One of the best sides in the league for sure. They're still right up there in the mix to maybe getting them European spots by the end of the season. But we've beaten them. We've beaten Dortmund, Alex. Three wins on the bounce now. And if you go all the way back to that game against Brighton that we always come back to, I think that's 13 games with 1 loss. Something like that. 13, 14 games with 1 loss. It's really not bad. A lot of wins. We're not quite at the level of Arsenal, but we're just 6 points behind. Massive game this weekend, like we said, that we'll move on to in a bit. But yeah, Cherky's looking good. That link up with Haaland's unbelievable. And Erling Haaland is now on 98 Premier League goals, just 2 away from joining the Premier League 100 club.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Cherky is one of them that's sort of got under the radar a little bit across the Premier League. Not so much with City fans. I think we all know just how good he is. But because he got in for so long, his stats aren't sort of standing out in the league. But I have no doubt if he'd been fit all season, we'd be looking at probably one of the top assists in the league. And everyone always goes to that stat about how Estev's our second top goal scorer in the Premier League this year. I think Ryan Cherky would be on sort of 5-6 goals maybe already.
Defo.
The guy's an output machine. Not only is he an output machine, he's an absolute maverick of a footballer. He's so good to watch. Everything sort of everyone says about Pep Guardiola ruining plays, he's the opposite of that. His assists, his dribbling, his little tricks, he's got it all. And the fact he's only, is he 21 I want to say? He's stupidly young.
Yeah, 21. Ridiculous.
It's just ridiculous.
Younger than the both of us, I believe, mate, which is just ridiculous, like you said. He
scary.
looks the part, he looks an unbelievable footballer. And I like to see the link up he has with Phil Foden as well, who, by the way, so many people shut him down last season, so many people were slating him. We both said at the Club World Cup, we both said last season he would be back to his best, and it looks like after those 2 goals, he's back to his best. He shushed whoever he wanted to shush. There was people slating him for that celebration. I just say grow up. There's been people making up stories about his family. There's been people hating on him, saying he's finished. He's all this nonsense, negativity. I think if he scores 2 great goals, De Bruyne-esque goals, may I say, in the Champions League, I think he's more than entitled to do whatever celebration he wants, to be honest, mate. Phil Foden, yeah, it's been unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. He does whatever celebration he wants. And on the topic of him being back, we both said he was going to be back. You had to be stupid to not think he was going to be back.
Yeah.
Even elite players have seasons off. I mean, I saw a lot of people writing him off, and like the one I was thinking about earlier was Eden Hazard, one of the best Premier League players of all time. there were several times where he would have a season off. I remember the 14-15 season, he carried Chelsea to Premier League. The season after, he went missing, Chelsea came 10th. Good players have bad seasons. Phil Foden is no different, but he's back. He's getting output. And although in the Premier League, maybe it's not quite showing on the statistics board, it's definitely going to come because Phil Foden's performances are sort of nearing that level they were the season before last, and that's great to see.
100%. And, everyone's going to talk about Arsenal, rightly so. They've gone about, 8 or 9 games now winning without conceding. They've won about 10 on the bounce. We got a point away there, which is, looking like a good result. It's a shame we couldn't win, but ultimately they're getting all the attention right now, which is fine by me. I'm happy for us to just keep plodding along, winning our games in pretty decent form. And, massive game, as we said, we'll get on to. Just got a few community questions here we'll rattle through because there's a lot of people trying to interact. Obviously, if you listen on Spotify, leave a comment with any thoughts. Same on YouTube. And we appreciate the support lately. Spotify numbers have been going up, which is great to see. Zelski's asked, how can Marmoush be a part of this team in the 11? Potentially, could we play 2 up front? Alex, what do you think of that?
I think no to the 2 at the front. I don't think that suits us at all. I also actually don't particularly like Marmoush as a strike. He's obviously scored goals there. He scored a goal at Swansea last week from up front. But he's way better out wide. He has way more influence on the game out wide, and that's where his best position is. And so I think he will be there. Obviously, we've got Savio, Doku, both can play on the left. But the reality is we've got so many games, it just will happen. Those players will go out of form. I think Marmoush will be back in the team at some point, and it will be on the left-hand side. I don't want to see him up front there. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's better wider or behind Haaland maybe. I think as well, we're going to get injuries. We're not going to have a fully fit squad all season. At the moment, we've got good problems to have. We're wondering who to pick. We don't know who to pick. And that's probably a good problem, like I said. Last season, we had, the worst problems. We had the worst problems you could think of. We didn't have any choices. Hence why we had a team looking a little bit like the one we read out earlier. But yeah, I'd like to see Marmoush out wide or maybe behind Haaland. I don't think 2 up front would work. Next question from Ryan says, do you prefer the more exciting, less controlling football or the more controlled, methodical football of Pep in years gone by? This season reminds me a lot of the 2016-17 season, in the sense that we've got a complete change of we've got Linders, Colo Torre rolling in. It's a different approach from the coaches. It's a different approach in terms of some of the players we've got. People like Doku playing a lot more direct. I think it plays to the strengths of like a Haaland as well, playing a bit more direct. And I don't think we've lost control of the games. Maybe we don't have as much as years gone by, but I'm enjoying it, Alex. I think we're an exciting team to watch, which is exactly what you want, especially when you're winning games.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are excited, and I agree completely that sort of this definitely suits Haaland more, having space in behind. Yeah. It's sort of when we signed him, the goals he's scoring now are the ones that we saw him scoring at Dortmund. But in terms of do I enjoy it more, it depends which controlled version you're on about, because there are City teams that have controlled the ball, but they've also played beautiful football that's great to watch, fast-flowing, creating chances. I think Sané and Sterling on the wings, that team was so controlled, but it was so exciting to watch. There are other ones where it's sort of been lethargic, pass it around, keep the ball, but not really do anything with it. And that's just pointless. So this City team doesn't have as much control, but I'm always going to choose a team that's exciting, creating chances over one that's just keeping the ball for keeping the ball's sake. And this City team doesn't. I think a lot of the teams we play against now are actually a lot better than sort of they were 5-6 years ago as well. But I think it's hard to argue anything other than this City team's exciting. And I think even neutrals maybe these days are starting to enjoy watching City, because having fast wingers and fast strikers up front to counter-attack is always going to be the most exciting part of football. And City are doing that really well at the moment.
100%. And Arakis has just said, what do we make of Nico Gonzalez this season? I think we'll both be in agreement that he's been very good. Looking very good. We've not had Rodri, and he's played a great part. A lot of control when we have him in there. And I think he's gone under the radar a bit, as you've said, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I've been banging on about him all season. A bit of last season as well. I think he's such a good footballer. And the highest compliment I can pay to him is that I'm not really that fussed at the moment that Rodri's struggling for fitness. Obviously, Rodri being back would be a great help for Manchester City, but I don't think we miss him too much at the moment. I think Nico Gonzalez has more than stepped in. And it just makes me sort of wonder why we didn't sign him on January 1st last year, and why we waited so long to get that deal done in the window last winter transfer window. But what a player.
Moving on, Alex, it's a huge game. It feels really, really big. It feels bigger than it maybe felt it could have been a few weeks ago, given Liverpool's change in form as well. So we'll talk about them, Alex. But it's City-Liverpool at the Etihad, 4:30. It's going to be a classic, it looks like.
Yeah, it always is. Manchester City versus Liverpool is probably one of, if not the biggest game on the English football in Canada these days. title rivals for so long. Obviously, we came out on top pretty much every time in a title race. This year, who knows if it will be us two involved in a title race. Obviously, Arsenal leading the way quite comfortably at the moment, but who knows if we'll be there or thereabouts coming into the season. But yeah, it's a huge game and it's a huge test for this City team. We haven't won sort of a big game against a title rival since that Arsenal game in the treble season. Obviously, we drew to Liverpool and Arsenal both at home in the 23-24 season, lost at the Emirates that year as well. You know, we've played a lot of big teams since then, and we've not really performed in the big games, I would say, as sort of the prime City teams have. And this is a chance, in my opinion, for this City team to make its first proper statement that we're serious. We nearly got that win at the Emirates. Obviously, it was a slightly different style of football to what we were used to in that one. I think this time around, we'll go and take the game to Liverpool. I think on our day, we're more than capable of outplaying Liverpool. And our record against them at the Etihad is very, very good. And I hope to see that continue. But as I said, as you said, it's a huge game and it's a huge test, but it's a chance to make a real statement to the rest of the league. Yeah,
like you said, it was 4-1 against Arsenal and Liverpool in that treble season at the Etihad. Both very, very dominant performances. And then the season after, it was 2-1-1 draws. And last season, it was 2-2-0 losses. Not good at all. I think Liverpool will be quite confident, given that they've changed that run of form. They had 6 losses in 7, didn't they? Some very, very bad performances that we both had a watch of. And then since then, they beat Villa. I thought they were pretty lucky's probably slightly harsh, but I don't think they quite deserved a 2-0 against Villa. I think on another day, they probably don't win that game. And Villa just threw it away. It's annoying, it's frustrating, especially after we lost to Villa. The fact that they made so many mistakes in that game, didn't put any chances away. And ultimately, they won that game and then they beat in a very, very poor Real Madrid side at Anfield midweek, but you've got to credit them for winning both games, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think on the Villa game, I think that was a game that suited them. Obviously, we lost to Villa the week before, so I can't speak too much, but the difference between us and Liverpool is we didn't really press that high, and that's sort of Villa's weakness. They mess about the ball too much, and Liverpool are a team that are going to be at you from the get-go, and obviously the first goal comes from Amy Martinez, just giving Salah an open goal. And that really suited Liverpool, and so that was a perfect game for them. And then Real Madrid, it's a very impressive victory because Real Madrid are Real Madrid, but Real Madrid in the group stages aren't the same Real Madrid that you face in the knockouts. It's almost like they just sort of, they know they'll get through. Last year we saw they didn't even make the top 8, and who knows if this season they will either, but it is a great win against Real Madrid, but it's not the same Real Madrid that you'll see in March, April time, so it's got to sort of be taken with a pinch of salt. But I mean, fair play to them, they've turned the form around, they've won 2 games in a row, they've not conceded in the process, so fair enough to them.
Yeah, well, it's a massive, massive game, like you said, Alex. Hopefully a big atmosphere at the Etihad on a Sunday. Arsenal will have already played, I believe, and we've got to be winning this game. 3 points is a must. I don't want to see one of these score draws or one of these, even a board. I don't want to see any kind of draw. I want to win this game, and I want, like you said, I want to show some intent because we need to win this game. I've got last year's, to continue the theme with, you know, that sporting game, I've got last year's Liverpool away game because that was the first time we played them just under a year ago. I've got that 11 up, Alex, and we're going to basically go through that and then swap out the players and produce our predicted 11 for this game. So last year it was Stefan Ortega in goal. I can't see him starting personally.
No, I've got a sneaky feeling he won't. It is his birthday on the day of recording this, actually. Yeah. But yeah, I think we both know it's going to be Donnarumma in goal this Sunday, which is just a slight improvement. Yeah,
Donnarumma, unbelievable goalkeeper, and especially in a big game like this, you do feel a little bit more comfortable that if there is a big chance, he might just save it. I'm not saying he can save everything, but he is a class keeper. And Stefan Ortega did step up, especially in that game against Tottenham. No City fan is ever going to forget that. Or the video of him outside, I believe Albert Schloss dancing around, just sold my car to Stefan Ortega. But yeah, I think his time at City is unfortunately over. I think at some point he will get a move, but he's still being paid. He's still part of the squad, and you know we wish him the best. Like you said, it's his birthday, but he will not be starting, and it will be Gianluigi Donnarumma. The right back was Kyle Walker. Now, Matheus Nunes did start in this game at left wing, but will it be Nunes at right back, do you think, Alex? What do you reckon to the right back spot?
For me, it's got to be Nunes. Obviously, Rico Lewis is an option, but defensively, he's just not quite there, Rico Lewis, is he? So for me, I'd go with Nunes. I think Nunes has been excellent recently. I had a little bit of a mistake in him yesterday for that Donnarumma tackle, just lack of focus. And that is maybe one of his bigger issues at right back. But I think he's been really, really good recently, and I'd like to see him start again. His pace as well is going to be important against whatever winger they choose to put out on the left. Maybe Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, the middle two centre backs, Alex. It was Stones and Vardiol yesterday. Now, I think personally it's going to be Diaz and Vardiol, given that was what we had against Bournemouth. That's been a pretty good partnership this season. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's been an excellent partnership, and I can see that being a centre back partnership. John Stones looked good on last night, but his fitness means I doubt he's going to play 2 games in a row. And yeah, like you said, I think the partnership of Guardiola and Diaz has been excellent so far. So might as well stick with it.
Well, yeah, it was Diaz and Akanji, last season with Ake at left back, I believe. I think that's right. Anyway,
yeah,
left back Nico O'Reilly. Surely he's got his spot in the team. He's been maybe not his best game against Dortmund, but I think he's been very good in the league this season. He's really come on as a young player, and I think he's sort of made that position his own in a way.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Sunday's going to be a big test if he does start. Obviously, Ryan O'Reilly's not fully fit, so I just can't see him starting this one. But O'Reilly did a great job against Saka in the second half at the Emirates, but I think Salah's probably his biggest test to date. Another benefit of Nico O'Reilly is Slot's had his fair share of arguments with the press, let's say, or I don't know what the word is, but he's moaned a lot in the press about sort of dealing with set plays defensively. And Nico O'Reilly, his height is something that is going to cause problems for Liverpool if we put stuff in the mixer, corners. We know they can't defend them that well, so he's a perfect player for that. And yeah, for me, he's got to start on Sunday.
Another interesting dynamic, just to stop in the middle of our predicted lineup there, is that Pep Lijnders, the Liverpool fans don't like him.
Yes.
He did so much for Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp. Is it James French as well that we've taken from Liverpool? So it's a bit of a strange dynamic, given people wouldn't consider these guys as like a player or anything like that. But ultimately, it's a great move to come to City for both those lads. And yeah, that's a little bit of a weird dynamic. So the midfield three last season, Alex, was Rico, Lewis, Gundo and Bernardo. I think it'll be drastically different to that this time round.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to disrespect any of those players because they're all excellent players in their own right. But, I mean, to Anfield, that midfield is just not a good midfield, especially sort of Gundo at his age. Bernardo last season was not at his best, and Rico Lewis is a player with plenty of potential. But starting him in midfield at Anfield would not be my go-to. And the midfield that starts on Sunday is going to be a drastic improvement. I think we both agree that Nico Gonzalez will start in defensive field. Straight in. We spoke earlier about how much we rate him. And in front of him, I thought Tijani Reijers was excellent. I actually thought it was probably his best performance since Wolves yesterday. I thought he looked really, really good. Bernardo Silva could start instead of him. Potentially, that sort of leadership, the energy he gives. But I think I would give it to Reijers. I think there'll be space in behind, and Reijers thrives in space. So I'd like to see him start. Yeah. And then obviously Phil Foden's got to start. He's in such good 100%. Form. 2 good goals on Wednesday night, and fingers crossed he can bag a few more on Sunday.
100%, mate. And it's going to be a big game for Foden. Now, the 2 wingers last year were Núñez and Foden with Haaland. I think the 2 wingers are going to be very different again. I think it's going to be... I mean, I'd be interested to see what you think about this, but I personally think, even though Savinho had a decent game, I'd like to see Doku, Cherki and Haaland and just see what they can cook up, because I'm very interested to see how they do against Liverpool.
For me, that front three is a no-brainer. I mean, Cherki has got to start. He's been so good every time 100%. He comes off the bench.
Unbelievable.
When he starts, I want to say it was his first start since the Spurs game against Bournemouth, and he goes and gets 2 assists in the first half. And again, like I said, he thrives in small spaces. He also does very well when teams play high line at Bournemouth, and he plays that ball in behind to Haaland. The space is going to be there on Sunday. Liverpool are not going to sit back and defend. At least I don't think they will anyway. So having creative players like Cherki for me is no brainer. Savio, like you said, was very, very good on Wednesday. Not very, very good, but he was good on Wednesday. But for me, Cherki's got to start ahead of him on the right.
100%, mate. And Cherki averages a goal or assist for City every 45 minutes.
Ridiculous.
I think it's 4 goals, 4 assists now, which is ridiculous. And we know that he's taking his chances in games like the Swansea game. He played very, very well against Bournemouth, arguably man of the match. I know Haaland scored 2, he's going to get that. But them two, Foden and them two on the wings, Foden behind Haaland, Liverpool must be panicking, because Virgil van Dijk's not been anywhere near his top level this season. Defensively, they've had a lot of issues, Liverpool. I mean, you just look at the league table, and Liverpool are just a point behind us. But if you look at the goals, right, so Arsenal top, we know they've been very good. 18 goals, 3 conceded. City on 19 points, 20 goals, 8 conceded. It's not too bad of a defensive record. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. Liverpool, 18 scored, 14 conceded in the league. And they're just a point behind us. They've got 4 goal difference. We've got 12. I mean, it says a lot about how poor they've been at the back this season, Alex. We know they were getting away with it a lot. They won the first 5 games in a row. Then they lost 4. And then they've won again. I'd hope they lose again this weekend because that defensive record and our attacking players there, I think they're in a bit of trouble, to be honest.
Yeah, they absolutely are anyway. Taken. And I'd be very disappointed if we don't win. I mean, it's more than possible they get something. They are a good team, Liverpool. Let's not take that away from them. But if we're on it, I don't see them coming away with anything. And I mean, I've said it already this pod, but our record against Liverpool at the Etihad is very good. Pep had never lost to Liverpool at the Etihad before in the Premier League until last season. And I almost think you can just wipe last season from any sort of record database because it was just such an anomaly.
Yeah.
But, I really do think we're going to win on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree with you, Alex. And you said before the Dortmund game, you texted me and just said, we win today. And I just thought, for you especially to have that level of confidence in a game, we must be doing something right.
Yeah, definitely.
And on Monday, the day after the game, actually, I've got to do, I'm doing the overlap. And there's obviously a very obvious Scouse contingent on that. Last season, they were very happy with City's downfall. They're very happy with the likes of Phil Foden not doing very well. I've dug up a few clips of that. So I'm hoping I can just go on there and give it to him, to be honest. If we win, I will definitely be doing that. So, people don't need to worry. I get people coming up to me at the games and stuff saying, they like what I'm doing and keep flying the flag, that kind of stuff. So I always appreciate that support and people in the comments messaging me and stuff like that. Ultimately, it is supposed to be a bit of fun. And I'd hope it will be very fun for me on Sunday and Monday, to be honest, mate. Should be good. Massive game, Alex. Have you got us a score prediction?
Yeah, I think we're going to win, as I said. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet because I think Liverpool are good at scoring goals, so they will get 1 goal. And I'm going to say we're going to score 3, so we're going to win 3-1 in a good win.
I've just sort of mimed my score to the camera, Alex. It's the exact same. It's 3-1, so we might be on the money there. Good minds think alike. Yeah, exactly, mate. And we'll have a look briefly. I think we're definitely the game of the weekend, to be honest. But we'll have a look briefly at some of the other games. 12:30 kickoff at Tottenham. It's Tottenham v United. Tottenham, actually, to be fair, in the Champions League, unbeaten, like I said. Looking good midweek. Mickey van der Ven's on. I don't know what he's been eating, but definitely his greens, we'll say that. Tottenham United, 12:30. One rule of life is that you never back this one. So whatever you think's going to happen probably won't happen. But how do you think this goes, mate?
At Tottenham, both teams just so hit or miss. I'll just say 1-1 on the basis that I've got no idea who wins that.
Yeah, both teams, like you said, so inconsistent. The form of both teams is just strange, to be honest. But in this game, I think Tottenham have had United's number. They had him 4 times last season. Obviously, the last one being in Bilbao. I think Tottenham do United. I think it'll be a very boring game. Right. You'll be falling asleep on Saturday morning. But I think it's going to be a 1-0 Tottenham. I'll go for. Not many other 2 games to highlight. We've got Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Burnley, Sunderland, Arsenal on the 5:30. Unfortunately, I can only see Arsenal winning that one.
Yeah.
But you'd hope maybe Sunderland can nick a point or something. I don't know.
At a stadium, you never know. Maybe the atmosphere will be there. Maybe they'll be up for it. And I'll catch Arsenal on a bad day, but Arsenal just don't like conceding goals, never mind losing games right now. So, like you say, I can only see it go one way.
Yeah, well, I do hope it's a big win for City at the weekend, Alex. Like we said, we appreciate the support. We're trying to get these podcasts rolling every week. Stay consistent with them. If you don't mind, if you're watching or listening on YouTube and you can pop over to Spotify, MCFC Lads Podcast, please do. Also on X as well, we've got the @MCFC Lads Pod account. Drop us a follow on there. Ask your questions on there, in the questions, in the DMs, and we'll try and read them out like we did this week. Next week, We'll be doing the podcast next week, probably a little bit earlier than Thursday, Alex, given we play Liverpool on Sunday. Either we'll do a match reaction for that, and then the podcast will come later in the week, or we'll do it pretty soon after. But keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
Keep your notifications on. It's a massive game. It's a massive game, Alex. And I remember we spoke in the last international break, and we said we've got 7 games coming up. We want to be winning sort of 5 or 6 of them. You actually pinpointed Villa as a game we might slip up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Arsenal have just won all their games, so we can't really do anything about that. But we've just got to focus on our games. And it was 7 games. There was a lot of away games in there. We've won 5 out of 6 so far with just one loss against Villa. So if we won this, it'd be a great performance,
completely.
to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
like we said, we're both going 3-1.
Yeah, if we go and win on Sunday, then that also means that since
Solid.
that Brighton game that we constantly go back to, it'll be one defeat and it'll be pretty much wins in all the other ones apart from Arsenal and Monaco, which we both drew. So we're in a very good place if we go and win on Sunday.
Yeah, and we've got a massive giant robot up front that's got 13 goals in the Premier League. The second highest scorer is 6. We seem to talk about him every week, Alex. It's customary for him to score. It literally is. He got 1 against Dortmund. No one even mentioned it. He is a robot. He did that celebration last week. I think it's more than fair to say he's going to score against Liverpool. Let's hope he does.
Yeah, definitely.
3-1 City. Up the Blues, Alex, is all I'll say.
Up the Blues.